because I'm a pen snob, and I've had the same pen for like, let's see, 6 years.
Oh,
And it's incredible. And I got refills for it in different colors and different thicknesses. And I got new ones that are called like so and so brand name dry because I write very like heavy and I always smudge inky pens. This one might be the best pen ever.
oh well. I'm just
And
happy to hear that there's still a stationery store that exists.
me too. And it was like surprisingly busy.
They were a big deal back when I was a kid, but like it just seems like not so much anymore. These are my favorite pens. Frixon Erasable.
That's not a pen. If it's
It
erasable,
is.
it's not a pen.
It's a pen.
It's
If
called
it's a pen,
friction.
Frixon. Frixion.
Frixion?
Made by Pilot, a pen company. And it has to be a pen. It has a clicker. See?
That's a great sound.
Want to hear it again?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
look
get
at that.
faster.
The mic is really picking it up. Look at that.
Faster. You get that.
Punch it to me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Colby Cast, where we dive into movies,
21 gigawatts!
TV,
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
and everything in between.
Well, I don't know how you get a podcast, but you should look into it.
I'm Colby, and I'm joined by my two awesome sons, Caleb
I don't know how to tie my shoes.
and Luke.
I never shut up.
Together, we're your friendly neighborhood pop culture nerds, here to share our thoughts on Star Wars, Marvel, the latest entertainment news, and maybe even some sports.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
So grab a piece of cake
Cake! Everybody loves cakes.
and find a comfy spot on the couch, because this is your place for community and conversation about pop culture and storytelling.
What an incredible smell you've discovered.
I listened to the first episode, not the first episode, but the first time I've ever listened to that Smartless podcast.
Who was the guest?
James McAvoy.
Oh, that one like just came out. Was it good?
Yeah. I'm only
It's fun,
halfway
right?
through it. They're hilarious.
They are so funny.
Luke, have you heard of this podcast, Smartless?
I've heard the name, but that's it.
So it's a total ripoff of the Colby cast. Just
Okay,
100%.
no.
Just yes. Well, I mean, they might be older than the Colby cast. I really haven't looked it up. So, like, it's cool. We're cool. They're cool guys. I don't want to start any beef, you know.
Yeah.
It's Will Arnett,
Jason
Bateman, and
Yeah, exactly. I always feel bad because I don't talk about it a lot, but I feel like I've been talking about it a lot, and I always forget his name. His name is
Sean
boy.
Hayes.
Sean Hayes. That's the guy.
Sean Hayes, and you've definitely seen Sean Hayes and stuff.
I have seen him and stuff. I can never remember his name.
He's this very, very memorable and recognizable face. But I should probably be able to name some of his movies off the top of my head because, you know, we have a pop culture podcast, but I can't.
That's what the internet is for.
Yes.
He's been
He was-
in Will and Grace. He's been in The Three Stooges. He's been in The Cat in the Hat, Cats and Dogs, Lazy Susan, The Bucket List, Q Force, The Emoji Movie, Sean Saves the World, Am I Okay? Cats and Dogs, The Revenge of Kitty Galore. Shall I continue?
Well, I was just going to say that the role that I remember him from is The Bucket List, and he's like the assistant of maybe Jack Nicholson. Yeah, Jack Nicholson's the rich one, right? In the bucket list. So he's like an assistant of Jack Nicholson, and he's the one. No, I can't. I don't want to spoil the. I am recording. I don't want to spoil the end of the bucket list for someone who hasn't gone and seen a movie that came out in 2007. Anyway, he's the assistant in the bucket list,
Wait,
and he's
you're
he's
telling
very.
me that at the end of the movie, the bucket list, they don't die?
I'm not saying anything. Have you never seen the bucket list?
Yes, I have. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie. Luke, have you seen the bucket list?
I have, but a long time ago, and I barely remember it.
So I feel very confident in recommending this podcast after having listened to exactly 41 minutes and 14 seconds of one episode. So
They're good. They're funny. I don't know what it is about them, but I listened to 2 episodes and I literally listened to them back to back. I never do that.
well, they're hilarious. They're friends. You can tell that they're friends. They talk to each other like they're friends, but they have a guest on. The one that I'm listening to happens to be James McAvoy, and he's hilarious. He's not only hilarious, but he's like very smart, and he's Scottish, so he's speaking in his natural Scottish accent, and I'm having a blast with it. So it is for mature audiences. I will put it out
Yes.
there just in case this makes it into some form of this episode. So mature audiences, they do speak like grown men who've been friends for a long time. So just watch out who you're listening to it with. But yeah, they're pretty fun. But I will say that like if we existed before Smartless Podcast, we did it first. I'm just saying. We're very
I feel like that sort of just goes for anything chronological ever.
You might not
not.
be ready to beef with them, but I am. I am. I'm officially a hater. I'm all in.
Are you ready to go toe to toe with? Well, who would you choose to go toe to toe with first? Like, who would be the first level? Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, or Jason
Sean
Bateman?
Hayes. Sean Hayes.
Yeah, Sean Hayes, because I don't know who he is.
No, Sean Hayes is the big boss. I feel bad because even they make fun of Sean Hayes in on the podcast. You can tell that he's
Oh, so
there.
he's easy pickings.
He's sounds like a cool guy. He's a super fan
Okay,
of James
so
McAvoy.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Dad. When was the first episode of the Colby Cast released? Month and year.
March of
March what?
2022. March
Dang,
of
they got 2
2022.
years on us. They got 2020. They started in July 2020.
Wait, we're ripping them off?
No, don't put that into the world. When you're selling a car, you don't start with the things it doesn't have.
How many celebrities started podcasts because of the pandemic and they're just like, I have to do something. Let's start a podcast.
Every single one.
Or
The
I'm
episode of
running
it.
out of money.
Yeah, exactly. The second episode I listened to was with Howard Stern, and he literally was talking like bad about the podcast that he was actively on because he pretty much said in a lot of different words because it's Howard Stern that any wise guy with like ability to search something up on the internet, send it to his house and speak can have a podcast and send it to infinite amounts of ears. And he said he had to fight tooth and nail to get his satellite TV show to make his life.
Womp womp.
So what you're saying is that Howard Stern is jealous of the Colby Cast. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what I said.
Old man yells at cloud. Wrap it up.
Well, he talks to clouds all the time. That guy's really tall.
This is true. It's true. Do you know that back in the day, long time ago, when the Batman movies were coming out in the 90s, there was always a rumor out there that Howard Stern was going to play the Scarecrow in one of them?
If that's baseless, that's still hilarious.
Yeah, I have no idea if it ever was even a thing, but that's what people would always talk about. Like, oh, Howard Stern's going to play the Scarecrow, but it is pretty funny.
Speaking of Batman, Michael Keaton is also a guest on the Smartless podcast. I have not listened to it yet.
I've talked enough about the Smartless podcast.
Yeah, no free ads.
Hey, but it's spooky season. You know why? You know how I know that?
Because you saw $7 pumpkins at Costco?
Is that how
Are
much
they
they are? I
giant?
haven't seen.
Yeah, they're massive pumpkins at Costco.
That's amazing. I remember one time Brittany and I went to go to Costco and saw those pumpkins, and I think we walked out with like a 45-pound pumpkin for like $6 or something, $7 probably.
If you go to one of those pumpkin patches, that's like $65.
Yeah, and then you actually have to pay them for you to lift it and move it yourself.
Who do you think of the three of us is the biggest spooky season fan?
Not me.
I think it's me.
I
I
agree.
would vote Luke too.
Who's second? Me?
Definitely
Probably.
you. I think there's a long list between second place you and next, and then next, and then next, and then next, and then me.
I enjoy the spooky season. I like it. We're calling it the spooky season because I feel like if we just say Halloween, it really like focuses in on like the last part of October. But the spooky season, I don't know when does the spooky season officially start? I know your answer, Caleb, because you're a hater and you're just like October 30th, October 30th. But we're gonna go to our resident super fan, Luke. When does spooky season start officially?
I say right after Labor Day.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, yeah. Because so Labor Day would be whatever that is, the first Monday of September. Yeah, I can get behind that. I sort of I feel like it's maybe like closer to the beginning of October, but not quite October. So that sort of tracks with what we're talking about. You're the super fan, so you want to start celebrating early. Caleb is a hater; he doesn't like any holidays, and he wants to just celebrate as quickly as we can, get it over with. And then
I
I'm right
u-
there in the middle.
I used to be a giant hater. I definitely feel like I'm a lowercase hater now, because I've honestly softened up to it. I've come to enjoy it more and be more lax when they start having like Spirit of Halloween stores pop up in May, and Christmas things pop up in June. Like I don't know.
So we I thought it would be fun to talk about our favorite spooky season things, and not just limited to TV or movies, but all of it, like the whole spooky season. And what do we like about the spooky season? Because we are, I feel like, really in the thick of the spooky season. Home Depot and Lowe's, they had their decorations out like 2 months ago already, but now I feel like if I wanted to buy one, I would actually go and buy one right now, like a 65-foot tall skeleton, because those are a thing now. Have you seen these massive monsters that they put together and stand in the yards? It's
Yeah, they're
ridiculous.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't think Mama would ever go back outside if we owned one of those.
No, no. Yeah. Mama being grandma, right? Grandma, mom's mom. Yeah, she wouldn't leave the house. They're a little ridiculous though, don't you think? Aren't they a little bit too big?
Nope.
Like these.
Wrong. No.
This is coming from the guy who carved a watermelon. When was
I
that?
did
3 weeks ago?
something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, I carved watermelons and I made some delicious watermelon juice out of it.
Yeah, that was pretty fantastic. We got to have the agua fresca de sandía, and a cute little mini pumpkin looking watermelon sat on our porch for a while. It was
Yeah.
it was fun. Um, I do have
I
a question.
definitely would not use a while to describe how long it sat out there because it was scorching hot and that thing withered very quickly.
That's true, and it started like a week long triple digit heat wave. I
Yeah,
think you put that out there, and it started.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we'll
it
get to
caused
the.
it actually.
He did. We'll get to the weather here, though, as a part of our conversation. I have a question for you guys about the spooky season, specifically the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is that a Christmas movie or is that a Halloween movie?
It's both, but it's mainly a Thanksgiving movie.
That's a hot take. I never thought about watching it on Thanksgiving. So that's when you would watch that movie?
No, I would watch it on Halloween and then again on Thanksgiving and again on Christmas, the way God intended.
Is that a
Caleb,
Tim
what's your
Burton
vote?
movie?
It is a Tim Burton movie.
So is Tim Burton God?
No, he is way too white to be God.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah,
No, I know you have. Caleb, have you seen it?
I really don't know. I feel like I've seen enough and could like talk about enough. Is there a dog in the movie?
There is a dog in isn't it like a ghost dog? Like a
Yeah,
sheep?
I'm pretty sure.
well, like everyone's dead in that movie. That's the point.
I
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know why, and I think it's just because like their animation is similar to me, but I always mix it up like plot points, not actually mix it up, but plot points between it and Coraline.
I have never seen Coraline. I couldn't tell you.
Coraline is like in certain parts like legitimately like skin crawling terrifying.
Like legit
No,
scary?
Like certain aspects of it. Yeah.
claymation can't be scary.
Okay, watch it again, buddy. You
I
tell
will.
me when they turn around and have no eyes and after they've had this entire thing. Like she's literally like sewing things onto her own being again. It's
It's creepy, but
yeah, you I think you're splitting hairs here.
I don't know. You
But
made it seem like it was The Conjuring or something.
Okay, no. I don't get anywhere near
It
those.
has a musical in it.
Pass.
Anyways, I like it. It's good.
I can't contribute to this conversation. I've never seen Coraline, so I apologize. Maybe I should watch and chime in. Apparently, it's going to
You
be
know
in
what?
some theaters in Cerritos, California. I don't know where that's at.
That's
You
where the
have fun
car
with that.
dealership is.
Yeah, that's I know exactly where Cerritos is.
Well, you could go see Coraline in a theater in Cerritos on October 25th if you'd like to.
I don't think I'll be doing that.
What about E.T.? Have you? I'm ashamed to say I don't know the answer to this question. Have you guys seen E.T.?
I have.
You,
Caleb?
have you seen ET?
Of course, I've seen E.T. I'm
So
asking if you've.
you are the king of indoctrination. You know we've seen ET.
It's been so long since we've seen it. I don't remember watching it. So
Yeah,
it's
I don't remember watching it either, but I know that I've watched it.
so you've seen it, both of you guys. So you can comment on my question. Is it something that you would consider like a spooky season movie? It's got Halloween in it. There's some legitimately like sort of scary, like suspenseful stuff. Not a horror movie. It's about an alien, but it's not necessarily like a.
Spoilers, what?
The movie is called E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Is that what ET stands for?
Would it qual? Yes.
I'm kidding.
I'm so glad you're kidding. So would you watch? Would you be like, you know what? Spooky season. We've watched all the spooky movies. Let's watch E.T. Would that qualify as something you would watch during this time of year?
I think so. I mean, I haven't watched it around this time of year, but now that you say it, I want to because they go trick or treating. That
They
makes it
do.
a spooky movie.
It's a big plot point is them going out to go trick or treating, and again, scary stuff. There's some legit suspenseful things. So, Caleb, what do you think? Is it a spooky season movie? Does it qualify?
I would say so. I feel like if it has Halloween, it makes it a Halloween movie, and that's why Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
You read my mind. I was just about to bring up Die Hard. If society has accepted that Die Hard is if it's not even a conversation anymore. Die Hard's a Christmas movie, whatever. Then E.T. is a Halloween movie. So by all means, go for it.
Yes. I
What
agree.
other movies would you put on your spooky season watch list?
Last year was the first time I watched Scary Movie, and that's a good one. That is a good Halloween movie because it's not scary; it's hilarious.
It's
I've
like one
never
of
seen
those
it.
spoof movies, right? It's like
Yeah,
spoofing
it's a
scary
spoof.
movies.
Exactly.
Wait, is that I have to look
The
up the
Wayans
name.
brothers.
Anna is Anna Faris in that?
I don't know.
What is the
Maybe.
one with Anna Faris? Because she's in a spoof of a Halloween movie too.
There are also like how many scary movies aren't there? Like 6 of them.
I don't know. I only watched the first one, but I liked that one. Um, I'm a big fan of. I don't really like horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, me neither.
What movies?
Horror movies.
Oh, horror movies. Yeah, yeah, me neither.
I don't really like the appeal of getting scared, but I like the vibe of it. I was gonna bring up Coraline. That's a good one. Big one for me is just watching old Disney Channel shows and their Halloween episodes. I love doing that.
You know, I entirely forgot that that was a thing, and I don't think I would ever turn that on by myself, but I definitely think I would sit down and watch it if it was already on.
It's great. The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody Halloween special, nothing like it. Nothing like it.
By the way, Anna Faris is in all four scary movies.
Yes, I can. I can back that up.
Brag much?
I fact checked that statement, and you are correct. Yes, she is. So yeah, I think I've seen part of Scary Movie then, and yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. You bring up a good point about TV shows, so we're gonna change. I'm gonna get to TV shows. I want to because I do think there's some fun TV shows to watch, but you bring up a good point, and it's an opportunity for me to complain about new things, being the old man that I am. Back in the day, when we had weekly episodic television shows that started in
Lame.
September and ended in May.
And a TV crank.
There, never a TV crank, but the youngest children used to be the TV remote control. Like they had to get up and change the channel, physically dial on the television. I remember that. Um,
Wait, you're telling me that not only did you have to get up to change the channel, but you had to like press physical things? You couldn't just tap a screen or swipe on a screen or talk to it or let it do it for you?
Okay, I know you're being extra right now, but no, there was no touch screen anything. And yes, you actually had to. There was only like click, 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 and then half of the when you clicked it onto the wrong thing, you would just hear this like, oh, that's the wrong channel. Keep clicking, and you had to play your video games. You had to turn it on to channel 3, and then that would be the feed where your video game was plugged in, and the TV would be like, oh, this is the video game channel. So play your video games, and then you have to turn it back. And we all shared a TV. We didn't have any screens anywhere else in our house. You had to share a TV. So if Papa wanted to watch something, that's what we were watching. Nana wanted to watch something, that's what we were watching. Until I got older and got a TV in my room, and then I never came out.
So was this before or after you had to run down to the river and fetch a pail of water?
Before, during, and after.
Man, you were. I've seen pictures of you as a child. You were not
I
going
wasn't.
anywhere fast.
I wasn't running anywhere. What were we talking about? TV shows. So they would all these TV shows would have like their Halloween specials and their Christmas specials, and then they would have like these themes. Oh, Valentine's episode. We don't have that anymore, really, because they're not released throughout the year. So it wouldn't make any sense for an 8-episode TV show to do like a Halloween episode, because that maybe they drop it in July or something. So, yay, no bad streaming. But we're getting sidetracked.
You're wrong, because the next one is exclusively streamable unless you want to watch it like it's through stained glass. One of my favorite things is all things Charlie Brown because it's the best. But The Great Pumpkin, I feel like that's not necessarily a show, maybe a short, maybe I don't know what else you would call it.
It's perfect. That's what
It
it
is
is.
perfect. It's yeah, I couldn't put it better.
I think that would be considered a Halloween special, which also was something that would happen. People would like things like that. That's how we got like the Charlie Brown Christmas and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's what they would do, specials for Halloween, etc., etc. Why do you guys think that the Charlie Brown Great Pumpkin Show thing special is perfect? I love that choice, by the way.
I love the Great Pumpkin. I painted the Great Pumpkin on a pumpkin last year. Okay, that is how into it
True.
I am. I love all the Charlie Brown stuff. I can't pick between the Christmas special and the Great Pumpkin,
You
but
know what's great? You don't have to.
you're right. I don't, because this is a free country.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
I I feel like it feels like a warm hug from your blanket when it's nice and cold and you have a belly full of hot chocolate. It's so heartwarming. I love it. It's great.
I know I've seen it, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what it's about because I haven't seen it in a long time. So maybe we should watch it coming up.
Charlie Brown thinks he is convinced that there is a great pumpkin, like Santa, that will come, and I don't know exactly if he'll do something good for your for your pumpkin patch or if he will do something bad to a bad pumpkin patch, but basically the best pumpkin patch will get something from the great pumpkin. So he is obsessed with like everyone wants to go trick or treating, but he will refuses to leave his pumpkin patch because he doesn't want or he wants to see the great pumpkin. It's phenomenal. The outfits are great. Everything about it is just I love it.
I'm a fan of the Peanuts. Peanuts anything is good, and I have a very soft and tender spot for the Christmas special, Charlie Brown Christmas. But I would like to rewatch the Great Pumpkin because I do remember him waiting outside all night long or something like that. So yeah, I'd like to rewatch that.
Things said by an elephant. I like peanuts. I like the peanuts.
Like the Peanuts. Let's go back to movies though. Oh, what to talk about shows though? Also, I feel like Wednesday is a great spooky season watch. Wednesday is a great show, and I would recommend anybody. It's cool. It's like eight episodes, and it's just perfect. You could include like the Adams Family movies from the 90s in the spooky season discussion as well. But Wednesday, like a more modern take on things, is a great watch this time of year. And I would also throw Stranger Things in there, although that's
Yep.
much
That's a
heavier
good one.
lifting. Specifically the first season, because I think it takes place in like that time of year, right? It's like the starting to turn cold. But then other seasons go into the summer, etc. So, but I still think that it would be a good watch, Stranger Things, this time of year if you wanted to get through like four seasons. You got to do something because they're still filming the fifth season.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you started right now and not like Halloween Day, like right now when this airs, you might be done by the time that they finish filming the latest season.
I doubt it. They're gonna be filming that until like those kids have become married and have kids of their own. Like the kids of Stranger Things could put their kids into season 5 of Stranger Things at this point.
True.
Um, I'd like to give a special shout out to Scooby Doo. I think Scooby
Yes.
Doo has a phenomenal Halloween vibe. Um, even the movie. What's the one? Something Island. Uh,
Scooby
Mystery
Doo and the Scary Island. I don't know. I don't know what it's
Mystery.
called.
I forgot what it's called, but it's so good. It's great.
There's one of the movies Scooby Doo Island, another one is Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
I don't know, but I love it. Um, but especially the old show. It's that one's another one where it's like it's a little creepy and a little spooky, but it's not enough to like keep you up at night or anything. It's just it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Um,
I'm sorry, but I have to interrupt you. You said it's scary and it's spooky, and I feel like we have to talk about the Addams Family now.
Oh, it's creepy and it's kooky.
Yeah, it was this the same like tempo you said it just made me have to compulsively talk about the Addams Family, like the OG Addams Family.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
um, I'm not a big Adams Family guy. It's all right. There's some cool parts about it, but it
So
was never
weird.
something that I was like
I
really
love
into.
it. I love it. To me, I think it and the OG Beetlejuice. I haven't associated the Beetlejuice with it with Halloween enough, but I feel like those two to me are like the iconic Halloween films.
Hey, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with either one of those. Um, Did you have something else about Scooby Doo you wanted to share? I agree with you about it being like creepy, but not like nightmare inducing. But there is a bit of a
It's
creep to
creepy
it.
for kids.
Yeah,
That's what makes
but
it fun.
fun creepy. Exactly, fun creepy. I wanted to shout out Toy Story of Terror before we move back to movies because I still want to talk about
I
some movies.
forgot about that.
It's the good, like, I don't know, 45 minutes of TV. It's really good. And there are some legit, it's fun, scary too, in my opinion. It's like not going to give kids nightmares, but it's going to be like, you're going to feel like the younger ones like scooching closer to mom and dad as they're watching, I think, in certain parts. It's fun.
Um, have are we moving back to movies now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to shout out 3 movies back to back to back, and I think all 3 are going to scratch a nostalgic itch. One, Monster House. You may react.
It's on my list. I was going to bring it up.
Monster
Absolutely
House is
great,
great.
great film.
Hard pass. Hard pass. Hard pass.
What?
That movie,
What?
that movie used to give me nightmares. Like I can still just talking about it right now. I can feel the fear that child Caleb used to have, and it just like no.
Well, maybe it would be a therapeutic experience for you to go back and rewatch it as a man. Or maybe it will completely shatter your confidence and ego as an
Maybe.
adult. And be like, yeah, I'm a grown man still scared of a movie that came out in 2003 or whatever. Um, the other one, the next one, um, Ghostbusters, Halloween movie.
Yes.
Don't care.
Also on my list. Yes.
Great. Yeah, I'm actually just reading off your list. Um, and 3, I don't know the last time you guys watched this movie, but I watched it recently, and I watched it around Christmas, but I do think that feels more like a Halloween movie, which is Gremlins.
Both work. Both absolutely work. And I'm surprised that this didn't come up in our Beetlejuice discussion because Gremlins, if memory serves me correct, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, they hold a place in history. Those are the 2 films that pretty much forced the movie industry to create PG-13. So even though Beetlejuice came out after the fact and was PG, uh, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Gremlins, I think, came out in the same year. Feel free to fact check me. At least within a year of each other. And they were too scary to be PG, or they had too many scary, strong images to be PG, but it wasn't scary enough to be an R. And back in those days, you didn't have anything in between. So they created PG-13 for movies just like that. So I would absolutely put Gremlins in Christmas and Halloween movie. So good call for both of them. I wanted to bring up Ghostbusters though because that was also on my list. I recently watched the 2 newest Ghostbuster movies, which are the sequels to the original 2 from the 80s. So I think the first one is Afterlife and the second one is Frozen Empire. And they have Paul Rudd in them and a new cast of youngsters, young people, and they were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching them, and I would really like to see more of these kinds of stories, especially with modern like special effects and that kind of stuff. I had a lot of fun with them. You guys haven't seen either of those newer movies?
Nope.
Well, I would recommend them, especially during spooky season. And Caleb's giving us thumbs down as I was talking, so I'm assuming you didn't see him either.
Which one was the one with Hemsworth?
Well, they call it, it was called Ghostbusters, but that's not in the.
That's not either of those two.
No, that's not what the. I like that movie. I thought that was a lot
Hmm.
of fun, and I literally put on my list here on my notes. I put Ghostbusters in parentheses all of them, and I'm including the one that you're talking about with I believe it's Kristen Wiig, and Chris Hemsworth is there. I thought that was a lot of fun. That was a very fun movie. It didn't work out. They're not making any more of them. But then after that, they made us like an actual sequel to the Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray ones from the 80s. and then they made a second one. So there's a total of 4 with those characters sort of in that storyline, and they were a lot of fun. So I'd recommend them.
I haven't seen any Ghostbusters project since that one, since the Hemsworth one. So I don't know. I like the OG. I don't recall the second one, to be honest with you. But I have a list of now, including the second Ghostbusters movie, um, will be 5 movies that I want to watch this time around.
Hmm.
And this is my official announcement that I think a nice little medium, instead of starting Halloween in early September, I feel like after the Earth, Wind, and Fire song uh, concludes, I feel like that's open season for Halloween. And I think that I will start celebrating by watching one of the 5 movies on my list before Halloween.
So you're referencing, do you remember the 21st night of September? So you're
That's
saying
the
that
one.
spooky season will officially start for you on the 22nd of September?
Yes.
Okay, so we're officially in. What is your list, though?
Um, all over the place. One of them, Gremlins, because I only remember like one of them transforming and it terrifying me as a child again. Donnie Darko. Have you guys seen that?
I have never seen that.
It's one of the only Tarantino movies I haven't watched.
I haven't seen it, but in searching up stuff to do, like the most quote unquote Halloween esque things, that was one of them. And I know it's like highly rated, so I wanted to watch it.
I literally
Um,
know nothing about that movie, so I don't know why it's on like a Halloween movie list. So you have to let me know what you think of it. I don't know anything about it.
I will do that because I could not justify why it's on a Halloween list either. Um, so that's 2. Ghostbusters 2 will be 3. Casper. Have you ever seen Casper?
Oh, it's been decades, but I do remember Casper. I think Christina
I've never
Ricci
seen
is
it.
in that.
I've never seen it. I have heard Casper everywhere. Like he's the friendly ghost. Everybody, even people who don't believe in ghosts, talk about Casper. So I feel like if you're gonna be that big of an icon and have a movie, you have to watch it, you know? And then the 5th one that I know nothing about other than the fact that there's a dog in it and that it's hilarious name is Frankenweenie.
I've also heard of that movie, but I've never seen it.
I've seen it a while back. I remember liking it. It's I think it's by the same people who made Corpse Bride.
Well, isn't Corpse
That
Bride a
that
Tim
probably checks
Burton
out.
movie?
Is it? I don't know. Maybe.
Man, we're really, really well prepared. The people that listen to us are just like, yes, it's a Tim Burton movie. Get it together. I don't know. We'd have to Google it. I'm not sure. Frankenweenie. Well, let us know how that list goes. Luke, do you have like a list like that you're going to be zooming through in this season?
No, I have a couple activities though.
Okay, before you get to your activities, there was one thing that I wanted to mention that didn't come up, and it's not necessarily a traditional Halloween movie, but I feel like it belongs in this conversation, and that's Coco. I think it would be a great thing to watch on November 1st because that's Dia de los Muertos. Coco is one of my favorite films of all time. I think it's my favorite Pixar movie, and it would fit in perfectly on like the day after Halloween kind of Dia de los Muertos celebration because Coco is magnificent. So I just wanted to give my shout out to Coco. And last thing about scary movies, I used to be absolutely terrified by the movie Poltergeist. Came out in 1982, and I watched it probably way too young and early in my life. And talk about Nightmare City, which leads me to my last one, Nightmare on Elm Street, also Nightmare City. I used to watch horror movies way too much when I was a kid. I just sort of grew out of them, so I left them in my past. Thank goodness, because yeah, that stuff is too scary for me now. So anyway, activities.
Well, I was gonna give you a hard time about interrupting me, but that was worth it. That was good.
Because I
Um,
admitted to having nightmares as a child because of horror movies.
well, no, I was gonna bring up Coco, but well, I wasn't gonna bring up Coco, but I was glad you brought up Coco. But thanks for trauma dumping. Um, I uh, I I love this time of year, and I think this year I am in I'm in my prime because I've always loved from October to December, October 1st to December 31st. That is the best time of the year, in my opinion. It starts to cool down. The leaves don't change here in California because all the leaves are dead. Um,
Yep, they
but
burnt them.
I imagine they change other places. Um, Hockey starts. A lot of good
We've
movies
heard that
come
they
out.
change in other places.
Yeah. Hockey season starts, but now I'm a big football guy now. Football. I like football. Um, so in
That's from the
September,
devil. As the foosball. That's from the devil.
so football season starting in September just adds to it. So now I have 4 months that I love, and Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas are great. I'm a big pumpkin patch guy. I like to go to pumpkin patches. Last year was the first time I realized how overpriced those pumpkins are. I get it. Support small businesses. They grow their own stuff, whatever, whatever. I bought, I want to say, two massive pumpkins. One of them was like 40 pounds. Another one was probably like 30 pounds. Um, and my Halloween costume was carving out the pumpkin head and adding eyes to it and a mouth. And it was great. Um, but the uh, the price of those was ridiculous compared to like I wanted to paint some pumpkins too, and I got those from Walmart for $5 each. So yeah, not very cost efficient, but it's fun. Um, I like to carve the pumpkins. I like to paint the pumpkins. Pumpkin spice season is back for all my fellow white girls out there. It's great.
I know you guys aren't big coffee drinkers, but I love me the pumpkin spice latte. Soy milk, no whip. Thank you very much. Soy milk makes it sweeter. It actually really does. So I sign off on all of the pumpkin spice love. I sign off on all the rest of it too. And I did want to add one more thing, but go ahead.
I was gonna bring up. I'm not a big trick or treater. Um, I never went trick or treating as a kid because we always were at hockey practice on those times. Um, but last year we took the little twins out for trick or treating, and that was fun. Um, I like giving out the candy. That's cool. Last year when I carved my pumpkin head, I did it way too early. I didn't realize that living things rot. So when I carved it open and took all the chunks out, I had to start maintaining it. So for about a month, we had two huge pumpkins in our refrigerator in our garage, and every day I would take them out of the refrigerator and I would wipe them down with disinfectant wipes, and then I would spray them full of a bleach and water mixture to kill any bacteria that was in it. And I did
And
that
then you
every
put it
day.
on your head.
Yeah, and then I would
That's
put it on my
true.
head, and the thing is, I would only put it on my head for a little bit. I'd take a couple pictures in it, whatever, but then I would immediately take it off. But on Halloween, when I was handing out the candy, I kept getting up, handing out the candy, sitting back down, and I kind of got tired of it, so I just left it on my head. And then at one point, I took it off, and I was like, "Wow, I'm kind of dizzy right now. I wonder why that is." And then somebody mentioned, "Why does your pumpkin smell like bleach?" And then it clicked. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that again. But I definitely
I
am. I'm happy that I did it the first time.
I had completely forgotten that you had to do that for like a month, trying to keep those pumpkins as alive as possible. So funny. Thank you for bringing that up. That gave me a good laugh. I love when the
Speaking,
kids come to the trick or treaters come to the house because like you're right, we didn't do a lot of going out and trick or treating because of hockey and whatnot, but and also there were a few years that not a ton of people came to the house because it was just sort of like wasn't happening. It sort of ebbs and flows. Uh, right now we're in a flow part because we get a lot of kids and we have a blast, like just an absolute blast handing out the candy. So I was definitely glad you mentioned that. Go ahead, Caleb.
You had mentioned um, entirely forgetting about something, and it reminded me of a time Brittany and I did pumpkins, but instead of carving them, we painted them. And she did an amazing job of painting like king stuff on this pumpkin that was maybe no bigger than a softball, and it had like Bailey on the side. It was purple. It had like the Kings logo, and it looked pretty accurate. And I entirely forgot about it on one of my shelves, one of my bookshelves next to my desk in my room, and I left it there for I think at least 6 months, had to be more, probably closer to a year. And I went and picked it up, and it was literally like 90% lighter. Like any pumpkin itself has some weight to it, whether it's small or big, it's pretty dense. This one, I picked it up and I went to go pick it up and I just almost like launched it into the ceiling because of how much like I just thought it would still be heavy. I fully expected it to like crumple and implode and get wrinkly. It looked like a fake pumpkin you could buy at like Target. It just looked perfect. It was just like hollow at that point. And the minute that like I moved it, it was almost like the witch in Game of Thrones where she took off the locket around her neck and just disintegrated, because the next day, because I had moved it for the first time in forever, it just like full on shriveled and imploded in itself, and I just threw it out. It didn't smell, didn't do anything, and I was honestly like, I feel like it should have been studied by science or something.
it like defied the laws of nature. Pumpkins are
Yeah, literally.
surprisingly resilient. Like they don't like they don't grow like fungus and stuff like other things that go bad. All the deterioration that you see or that's happening, you don't see it until you do something like you did and move it and like, oh man, this thing is dead. One thing I wanted to
I
add to the oh yeah,
I was going to bring up, I painted pumpkins last year, and I painted the scene of the Great Pumpkin on the
yes,
pumpkin, which was great. I also painted one of them entirely green and put an eye on it like Mike Wazowski.
that's true. That's true. Yep. That was in between your shifts of trying to keep the other two pumpkins alive in the refrigerator. I love. I have three Funko Pops and a bobblehead that I keep in my cabinet at work, and they're about to come out of that cabinet, and then on November 1st they go back in that cabinet, and that's just those four things are my Halloween decorations uh, at work, and two of them are of the same character, but it's different. So the character is David from the Lost Boys, but in the movie there's a part where he's like not in a vampire form, and then he's also in a vampire form. So the Funko Pop is of David when he's not in his vampire form, and he's got like Chinese takeout because there's this famous scene from that movie where he hands the Chinese takeout to the guy that they're like sort of like they're like terrorizing this guy in the movie, and it turns to like maggots and stuff. It's really gross. So he has that. So it's a really cool Funko Pop. And then the other one, he's in his vampire form. So he's got like red eyes and fangs, and he's got scary face. So I put those out, and then I have a Kyle Clifford bobblehead, but he looks like a zombie. So for those of you who may not know who Kyle Clifford is, he used to play for the LA Kings, won two
The
Stanley Cups
goat.
with them. He was and he was a tough guy. Like he was one of these guys that would fight uh, frequently, and he played very physically, and would quite often get injured, and he would quite often have bruises on his face from getting bare knuckles pushed into them at high rates
Well,
of speed.
even without the physical aspect, he just had like sunken, like almost horrific eyes. He's just
Yeah,
always had just like gray around his eyes in a permanent state.
but one of my favorite stories about Kyle Clifford is one tournament weekend. I believe it was Thanksgiving tournament. we were always spread so thin, and because mom and I we work so much around Thanksgiving, we asked mama and papi, so mom's mom and dad, to take you guys to a tournament. It was in El Segundo. It was at the Kings practice facility, and so they did, and so you guys were all at the rink, and the Kings were finishing practice, and they were coming off the practice ice, and mama was walking by, and she sort of turned around and was face to face with Kyle Clifford in his full hockey gear and his skates. So he's very tall anyway, and the skates make him taller. And he's a scary looking individual. Like, I'm not trying to dog on him. He's a scary looking guy. He's a very tough looking guy. And Mama looked at him and screamed. That's great.
It also doesn't help that she's very easily spooked.
She is. But so the Kings years ago made a bobblehead, and they made him look like a zombie, sort of like steering into the whole scary looking kind of guy. And ended up having, I was able to get one of these bobbleheads. So that's one of my things I put out at work. And then the last one is another Funko Pop, and it's of Bob Newby from Stranger Things season 2, played by Sean Astin, in his Halloween costume, which is Dracula, a vampire. And Bob Newby was a magnificent character, wonderful. Don't want to go into spoilers for season 2 of Stranger Things in case you haven't watched it, but he's a great character, and I have a Funko Pop of him as a vampire. So I put those out on my desk, and those are my Halloween decorations. So that's my contribution to the already very full and comprehensive list of activities for the spooky season. What about candy, though? We can't do an episode about this without talking about favorite Halloween candy.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Halloween and Valentine's Day candy. It's great. I don't care if the prices are marked up. Mark them up more, man. Who cares? Money's not real. I'm not a huge chocolate guy, but I'm a big fan of the big three. Big three being Kit Kat, Twix, and Snickers. Not up for debate, but anything gummy. Give me anything gummy. Skittles, Sour Patch, which is the greatest candy of all time. Again, not up for debate. Sour Skittles, Sour Strips, Airheads, all of it. Give me all of it.
You are a huge fan of the sour and the sticky gummy type of candy. I had forgotten about Twix. I would have put that on my list. I will add peanut butter cups and Kit Kats, though. I think you mentioned Kit Kats, but yeah, Twix are the bomb. I'm a fan of candy anyway, so I really don't feel like I can speak too comprehensively on a Halloween candy, because I don't know what Halloween candy is compared to just candy, and I'll eat candy any time of year. So peanut butter cups, Kit Kats, Twix, love it. But I'm not going to turn down any of the other ones either. So Caleb, how about you?
Regular sized chocolate bars. Just do it. Like Luke said, money's not real. If they're coming to your house, they've put in the time. Let them, just give them the reward they're searching for. Don't be the person who gives out school supplies or apples, or just give them what they're looking for.
If you give out a box of raisins for Halloween candy, you should be fined.
That's what you should do this year. You should go around with the twins and let them get their candy, and everybody who doesn't give out candy, you just have like a post-it note saying like your fine is blank, or like get an actual, like, I don't know, you can buy anything on Amazon these days. Buy something that says like Halloween fines or something. Start putting it on people's doors.
You want to give out Halloween demerits? Like, you have been fined by the Halloween tribunal for giving out bad stuff.
Yeah, there should be an equivalent of like Christmas coal for Halloween.
I'm embarrassed to admit this, and I know you're not going to believe me, but I promise I'm telling the truth when I say this. A couple months ago, I parked in a public plaza. When I came back to my car, there was a note on my car, and I saw it from little whiles away, and I ran up to it because I was like, I either got a ticket or somebody hit my car, and I run up to it, and it's a folded piece of paper, and I open it, and it just said, "You park bad," and I was like, I literally like stopped and looked around at how I parked, and I was parked within the lines and everything. I thought I parked fine. I don't know why somebody put you parked bad or you parked.
That's
Um,
so funny.
there was something beautiful in the simplicity of the verbiage, but I think I could do something similar where like I could hand him a piece of paper that just says like you don't do a good Halloween.
No, you Halloween bad.
You Halloween bad. You are bad Halloweener.
You have a small Frankenweenie.
Oh my god.
Like a Halloween Grinch, right? Whatever the equivalent of the Grinch is to Christmas, that for Halloween.
Do you remember the Heffalump
Oh
from
yeah, that's great.
I was looking through a bunch of stuff. One of the things that I was absolutely taken aback seeing was Heffalump Halloween. I saw it and it felt like the entire world stopped moving because I was back being a little itty bitty baby child watching the Heffalump Halloween.
There was a scene from that movie that I thought was legit scary. Like, isn't it like he's hallucinating or something like that? Or am I thinking
Yeah, something like
of
that.
Dumbo, like when he's having his psychedelic elephants going through his psyche or something? I don't remember, but I think there's something that I was like, oh wow, this is weird from the Heffalump movie. Plus a Heffalump. That's a great word. I love that word. One of the things you mentioned, Luke, was like the sports aspect of this time of year. You mentioned the arrival of football and hockey, but we're going into that small stretch of season or time of the year where like sports fans are just in heaven, because not only do you
Yeah,
have football and hockey starting up, but you've got the playoff push for baseball, the playoffs,
it's
and
the
then the World
perfect time.
Series.
It's the perfect time to be disappointed by all four major sports league teams that you follow.
Well, don't forget about
Not
college
the
sports too.
Padres. Not the Padres.
Yes, as you wear, yes, we saw your reference to your Padres shirt you're wearing very, very proudly. But yeah, I mean, all the major sports are just going on, and yeah, so that's fun. And then another thing I really like about this part of the year is even though it doesn't get cold here per se, it does start to cool off, and it's nice to sort of feel the crispness of the air of in the air like creeping in, and the days started to get a little bit shorter. So that's our version of like the leaves, although it still gets 95 degrees in the afternoon, but at least it cools off into like the low 60s at night, and I really
There
like
was a
that.
morning dew on my car the other day.
Yeah, I have to turn on my defrost to go to work these days.
Yeah, because it hit 61 overnight. Well, didn't it wasn't it foggy on the freeway for work today?
Yeah, it was so foggy. And I feel like people who listen to this that aren't from SoCal are probably just rolling their eyes and wanting to just reach through their ears into our lives and just strangle us for complaining about 61-degree weather. But we're not complaining. This is what we want.
Oh, we love it. We love it. And not everybody does, and a lot of people around here do complain about it, but we are not one of them. But we know what real weather is like. We go to cold weather cities to play hockey for a weekend, and then we come back.
Yes. Do you know how Mariah Carey defrosts after like Thanksgiving to sing her one song that anybody ever listens to?
Yeah, yeah. All I want
That
for Christmas
like
is you.
Yeah, you know how she starts it in her voice and she starts it with "It's time," right? You recall that portion of the song?
I don't actually. That's why there was just
That's
silence. I'm like, there's a part of it that
that's
says that.
okay. I'm just gonna keep rolling with it, like you said yes and setting me up very well. That's how I felt the other day when I almost turned around to go back in the house and grab a sweater because it was actually kind of chilly, even though like it was gonna turn hundred and thousands of degrees in the afternoon. But that's how I felt. I was like, it's time. It's time for fall. Let's go. Let's make this the constant thing.
Wasn't that moment of your day just so spectacular? Like, do I need a sweater? Wait, did I just think I needed a sweater? And
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, this moment. I love it. Let's live in this
For
moment.
all three of us running as warm as we do, the amount of sweaters that we all have is ridiculous because we barely use them and we get very
Yes.
excited to use them.
And every single time I go into a store, I gravitate right to the hoodies, and mom comes walking over to me, gently grabs me by the elbow, and says, "You don't need any hoodies. Let's go." And I say, "You know what? You are right." But I like them so much, I just can't use them. I think that's one of the reasons why it's good that we're into hockey, because like even when it's hot, we still have to put on a sweater when we go into the rink. Sometimes, not during the honestly, not during the summer, but like yeah, it can get cold now. You brought up music though, and I think we'll end off on this because I wrote down a couple songs that I always enjoy hearing around this time. Is there any certain music that you guys like to listen to once we get into the spooky season? Because I'll just tell you, of course, Thriller. I love hearing Thriller this time of year, although I'll listen to it any time of the year. Great song. Um, did you know that DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince produced a song called Nightmare on My Street?
Who?
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, also known as DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Was that not the same thing?
Will Smith. Will Smith was the Fresh Prince before, I mean, he was Will Smith, but I mean,
Yeah.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and DJ
who's
Jazzy
that?
Jeff. That's Jeff. That was his DJ. That was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the
I thought we
Fresh
were
Prince.
Saying it
supposed to know
more
that person.
times doesn't clarify.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
We
DJ Jazzy Jeff
understand
and the Fresh
words,
Prince.
not the context.
What are you kidding me? Parents just don't understand these other singles that they came out with. They're
If you
huge.
would have just said Will Smith, we would have been like, "Oh, cool."
If you Googled Will Smith Nightmare on My Street, you're going to come back with DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Just saying.
And if you Google why does nobody understand what I'm saying, it will say because you're 1,000 years old.
You know those insurance commercials where it's like, "Don't be your parents," whatever, and it's like,
I don't like those. I don't like
they're
those commercials.
so funny. They're
I
so
don't
funny,
like
and
those
I feel like
commercials.
that's enough. I feel like we're living our real life version.
DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Stop.
Anyway, there's a song called Nightmare on My Street. It's hilarious. You should listen to it. And then Monster Mash. I mean, if you don't play Monster Mash sometime in the next 6 weeks, you're just doing life wrong. I'm sorry. I'm here to tell you.
True.
There you go. What about you guys? Any music that you like to listen to at this time of year?
No, not really. I mean, I think just like more chill, laid back songs when it's colder and darker are nice. You have your like summer playlist that's fun and pop and stuff like that. But I think you can get a little bit more like just laid back when the sun's going down and it's a little cooler and you're like, oh my god, who am I? What am I wearing a flannel for, right? But I think now that you mention it, I'm gonna start thinking about like, why am I playing the songs that I am playing? Is it because of the time of year?
I think it is.
I don't
I
ever
think it's
have to think
subliminal.
about that. I don't have to put any thought into my music because I only listen to Kendrick Lamar these days. This has been a nonstop thing since like March. That's
K
a joke.
or the Smartless Podcast.
Yeah. No, I with how much driving I've been doing, I've been listening to all sorts of stuff, and I made the mistake of asking for or like making a joke about listening to audiobooks, and now people just keep telling me audiobooks I should listen to, and I feel obligated to actually listen to audiobooks, but haven't gotten around to it.
I can introduce you to two very specific and effective things. The first one is called lying and just saying, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I listened to it. It was good. It was good."
Yeah, but I'll tell you after about who it is. They are not dumb.
Or you're just
Oh,
not good
thanks.
enough at lying.
No,
Well, that's
it's
so
not.
nice. That's so nice of you to say that about me. I appreciate that.
The other thing you can do is just say, "No thanks, I'm good."
Nope,
I
that's not
like this
happening
person
either.
too much. I like this person too much. It's a good person. If it wasn't a good person, then I wouldn't. But
So Luke's advice to you is either lie or just straight up say no to them in their face.
Yeah, lie or be honest.
Any final thoughts on the spooky season? Anything that you're hoping to do that we haven't touched on yet before we end off our episode?
This is the best time of the year. It really is. The weather's nice. The sports are great. I'm as much as I love the summer, I really do. This is the best time of the year, from now until Christmas, and then a little bit of depression, and then you get back a little bit because of Valentine's Day, and then it's rough for a little while again, and then summer comes back. So appreciate it while you're here. Um,
Man, capitalism just got you.
oh
You
yeah,
just
no,
look
it's
forward
true.
to the holidays and that's it.
I like spending as much money as I can because society tells me I have to spend money now. Um, but I forgot when we do it. But last year was our first time, and the tradition is going to last. I'm gonna make it stick. But last year we collected all the pumpkins that we got because everybody collects pumpkins, and I
Oh
recommend everybody
yeah.
do this. And I said that we should smash all the pumpkins with bats. Did we do that on Thanksgiving or Christmas?
I think we did it in between Thanksgiving and Halloween.
No, it was a holiday that we did it on.
Was it?
It was Thanksgiving, and we did put blunt force objects in the hands of our 3-year-old twin niece and nephew, and I played smashing pumpkins while we smashed pumpkins, and then
Yep.
we had to clean up all the smashed pumpkins.
They
Uh,
have to see an uptick in their streams around Halloween.
Smashing
I
pumpkins.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I listen to the Smashing Pumpkins pretty consistently, so
I don't
um
think I could name a single one of their songs. I feel like you could give me 3 song titles and tell me which one of them is like guess which one of the songs is Smashing Pumpkins. I don't think I could do that.
Okay, A Nightmare on My Street by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Oh my god. Is that by the Smashing Pumpkins?
Yes. So, yeah.
The last one that I have is I want to see on Instagram, social media of any kind, in person preferably, I want to see dogs in sheets because it does something for my brain, them being dressed up as ghosts. It is so cute. And I'm not normally one to advocate for like dogs in clothing.
Well, I don't have anything to add to that. I've got my entire list, and I wouldn't mind seeing dogs in sheets either. And I do think we should definitely smash pumpkins again on Thanksgiving. We have a few weeks left, a few episodes between now and the Halloween, and I think it would be cool to talk about some like actual scary movies. Not necessarily, not really scary movies, but we'll be going in. I have some things that might work out. I'm going to try to surprise you guys, Caleb and Luke, watching some movies, and I want to hear your thoughts on it if you have time. That are not currently on your list. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be getting cooler. So get your warm pumpkin spice lattes out there with soy milk and no whip, and just sip away in your sweater or your hoodie, whatever it is that you prefer to warm yourself as you sip your PSL. So yeah, thank you guys for having this conversation. This is always fun. Love it. And thank everybody out there. Thank you all for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed our conversation too. So for Caleb and for Luke, this is Colby reminding you that we ain't afraid of no ghosts. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know. You can find the Colbycast on Instagram, Threads, and X at the Colbycast. Episodes can also be found on YouTube, so like and subscribe. If you feel so inclined, rate and review our show on your podcatcher of choice. That really helps the show beat the algorithm and helps us find new friends to add to the conversation. If you're wordy, like me, you can send an email to thecolbycast@gmail.com. All music is licensed through Adobe Stock and performed by Pro Music 24. This podcast is not endorsed by anyone or anything for that matter. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Colbycast unless otherwise indicated.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do.